My family started going to Hawaii when I was probably 8. We would go there every single winter for like New Year's, Christmas time. And I remember every single time I would come there, I would say, oh my God, I wish we could live here. I grew up and I was born in Ukraine, in Kiev. My childhood was pretty vibrant. I was a street kid who grew up playing with my neighbors and having fun. Before war started, probably 2 months in advance, people started talking about it. People knew that war might happen, but no one believed in it. And being like, there's no way someone would start a war in the 21st century, like in such an abrupt way. I remember my family that winter, it was the first winter we wanted to go to Hawaii after the COVID time, and my dad just decided to move the whole trip to February, which we have never done before. So I left to Hawaii and again, without a single thought behind it that war might happen. That day felt like surreal. I remember coming back home, like coming to the hotel, and my parents went out to get dinner or like some groceries. I went to the gym, and then my mom texted me, you have to come back immediately. Keeping in mind that there's a big time difference between Hawaii and Ukraine. It's exactly 12 hours. So while it is like a nighttime there, it's a daytime in Hawaii. And I come in, my mom is crying. My dad is like really stressed out on the phone with like 4 different people. I turn on my phone, a bunch of my friends are texting me like, I'm scared, I don't know what to do. They're like, we're hearing sounds, we don't know what it is. I think the war is starting. From every single region of Ukraine, they're like, we're hearing bombings, like something is happening, but we can't see it. It took a couple days for them to attack Kiev, and it did not feel real. It felt literally heartbreaking. It felt like a fever dream for a good week. None of my family members slept. I'm describing it from our point of view, and like, yes, it was like mentally hard to like be like in a survivor guilt kind of thing, but you cannot imagine how hard and how rough that time was for people in Ukraine. Doesn't matter how hard it was for us mentally, in Ukraine people would like experience these things that you cannot imagine. Yeah, it was a hard time for my family, but it was a much more harder time for my family back at home, and it still is. It was coming up, the timing of like going back home was coming up, and we knew that we're not gonna be able to go back home. The first news report came out about my family, because we were the first Ukrainian family who stuck on the island during the Russian-Ukrainian war. They posted that news report about us. We got immediate like feedback from a bunch of people offering help in any way possible. An old couple, Bob and Gretchen, who are my now adopted American grandparents, offered us a place to stay where we're still staying at. Hawaiian community was really welcoming, really supportive. My parents kind of figured out that the war is gonna last definitely for longer than a month. So they did let us know that we're gonna stay there till the end of the summer. I hated the idea of being on the island. I hated the idea of being in Hawaii, not being home, not being able to go home. I also like barely spoke English when we came to Hawaii. I had to be the one to translate all of these things. Like, people come to help us, like I have to go talk to them. If we're going to a lawyer, I'd be assigned as an official translator. Those first times for like of me translating all of the stuff was really overwhelming. I always wanted to get away and be like, I'm gonna study abroad. And then when war started, I remember, like vividly remember this conversation with my dad. And I was like, this is so interesting how people choose physical force over like communication between countries. And my dad is like, well, if you want to know more about it, you can just go and study, like try to aim for diplomatic fields, and then you'll get to like find out more what's happening in your country and why no one is doing anything about it. I got into many schools, but East Coast and specifically DC felt like that would be the best place to study international affairs. I was really amazed how alive and like busy DC is, and it's like filled with politics. You can literally just walk 5 minutes to like White House and see where all the news are coming from all around the world. It's only been one semester, but I actually like in love with this school and with this place. I catch myself thinking like, what it'd be like if I went back, like right now, like bought tickets and went back home. I was in my sophomore year when I left Ukraine, so all my sophomore books like are still on my table. Like I still probably have that unwashed like coffee cup next to my bed, and like it's kind of really strange to think about it, that you're gonna go back home and everything is in like its places, that you're gonna like time travel and like nothing happened. I'm still kind of delusional about it, but I do have to reach the point of like realization at some point that it's not gonna be the same. There are places that are fully destroyed. The metro stations that I would take like to school like every single day is destroyed. Every single family in Ukraine can say that they have at least like one relative who lost their life on the war. I think going back there is going back there for my home and for the place where I was born and grew up in, going back for my family. My dad was in a rowing community. They sent my dad a Ukrainian flag with signatures of all of our friends, just for my family to be reminded that there is a community who's waiting for us back at home. They still remember about us and they are waiting for us to come back home. If my family does go back home, I want to go back as a person who can help, who can somehow contribute to the reconstruction of my country. I hope that I'll successfully finish my degree in GW and will still have that passion for international affairs, and I have the plan how to rebuild my country for the post-war period. For my home and my family, I just pray for them to have tomorrow. I just hope for everyone to keep that like strong spirit and not give up on the idea of the bright future.